Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Sanctum, guys. My name is Jesse. I'm the writer, director, and narrator for the Lost Codex episodes, and I am back with a reaction and analysis video with Jack. I hope he's over there because I'm pointing in that direction. Jack, welcome back.
Hey guys, I'm pretty hyped. My name is Jack. I'm a Lost Codex artist, and I love Sylvanas, as many of you know. Oh man, I'm just sitting at this video. Okay, I'm not going to get ahead of myself. Hello.
Hello. So, calm introduction. We're going to be doing things a little bit differently than last week. So what we're going to be doing this week is we're going to be filming our reaction live. Last week we just dived right in to our initial first impressions of Jaina. To be honest, there was a lot of things Jack and I missed in our first watch through, second watch through. So this time we're going to film our first watch through. We haven't watched it at all. All we know is it's about Sylvanas, and then we're going to, with the magic of movie editing, thank you to Jeff, we are going to suddenly come back with a more informed opinion on what happened, and then we're going to talk about it as we go through. So we're going to do our live reaction, we're going to cut, we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about all the juicy things that happen. Little bit of context, Jack and I have done the questing in-game, one side only.
Up to a point.
So I've done the Horde side up until handing in. We thank you to Latest from our Discord, who was able to provide us with the quests that he told us not to go past. So Jack has gone up to the maximum point. I've gone up to the maximum point.
If anyone's curious what that is, on the Alliance side, it's getting on Tyrannus Hippogriff.
And for Horde, it's talking to Sylvanas on the beach. So we have not done that. We quit the game. Uninstalled the whole game, and not actually, and now we're gonna watch this reaction live on YouTube. So we're gonna stop rambling. Here we go. We're gonna watch our video.
Secure the beach. Prepare to invade the tree.
Why? Why? You've already won. Only innocents remain in the tree.
This is war.
No. This is hatred. Rage. Windrunner. You were defender of your people. Do you not remember?
I remember. A fool. Take her! Run! Now, you understand. Ah, don't grieve. You'll soon join your loved ones.
I grieve for you. You've made life your enemy. And that is a war you'll never win. You can kill us, but you cannot kill hope.
can't I?
Burn it. Burn it!
Morally grit. Okay. Give us a break. Hang on. We gotta process. This needs to be processed. Okay, guys, we are back. We are back and ready to talk about everything that just happened. Oh my god, I watched it about 3 more times.
Same.
While writing these notes with Jack while talking, and there's so much to talk about. I'm gonna start because I know there's a certain part Jack wants to talk about.
Who can anybody guess what that could possibly be?
So anyone who hasn't done the Horde side quests, you're not going to be familiar with who that elf character that you see on screen is, and that's
You mean Alliance?
No, at Horde side don't meet her.
Oh, right.
Alliance do.
I missed
So
that.
I'm fairly certain it's Captain Delaran Summermoon, who is one of the main characters that the Alliance meet through the whole story. You guys would have met her last week. Her hood color is the same, and this is one of the biggest mysteries that people have been wondering. They showed this promotion at BlizzCon, and there was the elf chick with the arrows in her back, and everyone thought,
yeah.
Who is that? Is that Chandra's Feathermoon? Is that Verisa? Is that Sylvanas' own sister? Who could it possibly be? And not that it's disappointing that it's a new character, but there was a lot more people thought it was going to be someone big. But she was a cool character. I like the voice actress is amazing. Her transmog was on point, and now she's dead. So Nathonos, Starfang, and Sylvanas are on the beach. Captain Delaran Summermoon is there, and right away Delaran pulls the personal card on Sylvanas and says, "You are a defender of your people." And I knew that it was going to get serious right at that. I mean, obviously the tone was set serious, but Sylvanas says, "I remember a fool," and I kind of thought, like, why does she remember herself as a fool? Jack, what do you think?
Okay, so you can see me like kind of bubbling over here. So this immediately launches into a Warcraft 3 flashback. This is a really accurate depiction of what happens in Warcraft 3. So she goes, "I'm a fool," and then it cuts to her fighting at Fairbreeze Village, which is where she had to fall back. I'm getting ahead of myself here, but that's where the setting is. And I think the first thing a lot of people are going to note here is that she doesn't have blue eyes, and neither do the mother and the child who are dying in the field around here. We'll get to the field too.
And none of the elves in the background. And at first, Jack and I we kind of have like a transition of our notes here. At first, Jack theorized, maybe it'd be confusion with Jaina. Jaina's magic last week. Everyone, we made the joke on our podcast that Jaina's a necromancer with her blue eyes.
And Sylvanas obviously isn't a necromancer, so
clearly not. Well, at least not back then. So I thought for a second, jokingly said, "Oh, well, Jaina has blue eyes because she's a necromancer," but it's when she was using the arcane. And then the thought hit me, and I went back and checked, she's not. By the way, I'm saying it now. Like that was a joke from the podcast.
So anybody who didn't listen to the podcast, no, she's not.
She's not a necromancer, but it's definitely an artistic decision, and we think it's to avoid confusion with the Scourge and Arthas, because every single shot of the Scourge, they have these glowing lich light eyes.
There's lots of cool magic tones,
and part of me gets it. The Scourge in The Arthas Wrath of Lich King cinematic, obviously the massive army with all the lich light glowing blue eyes, very iconic shot with Arthas and the lights coming out of the helmet and Sindragosa, and I think they were trying to go for that as opposed to having both sides have the glowing blue eyes, because technically the high elves do. So I think that's the reason people are going to say, oh, confirmed, high elves don't have blue eyes and therefore they're never going to be in game. No, that's not what they're saying.
As we said in the previous video, this is an artistic depiction. This is not like intended to be a canonically rigorous video. It's going to show canonical events, but it's not going to be like, oh, blue eyes are retconned. Yeah. We're not going to see Illyria in a couple weeks with just like brown ass eyes.
Chronicle 3 has all the elves with all the high elves with blue eyes in there. Illyria and Varisa have blue eyes in the comics. Like it's still canon. I think it's just to kind of separate Arthas and the Scourge from Silver Moon people.
And that had to have been a tough call by Blizzard. Like, ooh, do we go perfectly lore accurate or do we create this visual distinction here?
And I actually think it worked. I actually think seeing the scary blue eyes there
brings it home.
Brings it real home with Arthas and all that.
And you immediately recognize him as Arthas.
Right.
So I'm going to glance down at my notes here just because I want to get to this point by point. So I first played this this specific scene when I was 12 with Warcraft 3. So and this is where I personally came to love Sylvanas, because she's this. Arthas has a really hard time getting through Quel'Thalas. He's trying to get to the Sunwell to resurrect the Lich Kel'Thuzad, as most of you know. And Sylvanas is stopping him at each step of the way at these things that were called Elf Gates. The land itself was heavily enchanted. It had just layers upon layers of defenses. Their climate was magically controlled. This place was locked down. And Sylvanas, each time Arthas tried to breach these things, would be there. Just, no, I'm going to stop you. I'm going to throw everything I can at you. You are not getting to the Sunwell. I mean, he does eventually.
And they make it real apparent how tough it is to get into Quel'Thalas, as opposed to, let's say, Lordaeron or Capital City, or even Dalaran. Dalaran, even though it was a magical city, it wasn't as magically defended.
They brute forced fucking Dalaran. They just
just stormed the gates kind of thing.
Throw them in there.
They introduced the elf gates. They mentioned that the trolls had trouble. The forest trolls had trouble attacking elflands, and orcs actually had trouble with it as well in the Second War. And those were problems and obstacles that they had to kind of work around. So it was established way before Warcraft 3, but it becomes very apparent. So it's kind of the reason why Arthas is so, not just like, oh, who's this chick on the field before me? Like he hates Sylvanas at this point. In what we see in this flashback, it's not the first time that they've met. Arthas is now, the city's in his sights, and she is still standing before him every step of the way.
Yeah. So Arthas at this point, it makes it really clear that he loathes her. He is extremely frustrated. Sylvanas at this point especially is super strong. And eventually she has to fall back. All the elf gates have gone down. Arthas has breached the inner parts of the kingdom. He's close to Kildanos, where the Sunwell is. And she's at Fairbreeze Village, which in the game is surrounded by forest, but she dies on a field. In Warcraft 3, she dies in the open. Some people are like, oh, in the Chronicle it shows her against a tree. That is not an accurate depiction of how she dies. I know it's in the Chronicle, shoot me. It's not how she dies. It's not how she dies in Warcraft 3. It's not how she's dying in this video. What happens is she has a 1v1 with Arthas, as you see. Arthas kills her because he's extremely powerful, thanks to Frostmourne and Ner'zhul. Stabs her in the chest. In the game, it's like he just kind of slashes her. He stabs her in the chest and immediately rips out her soul, and her body is thrown in a corpse wagon. That's what we see here. We don't see the corpse wagon, but her body's in a corpse wagon now, and she's a banshee. And she goes, give me a clean death. She wants a clean, honorable death now that she has finally been defeated by this ultimate adversary, who she could not repel. And he goes, no, I am going to torture your soul. And she becomes the first high elven banshee. At least that comes out of this war. That's really cool.
It's important to note as well, and Jack pointed this out in our notes, that some people are going to say, well, there's another Chronicle retcon. There actually isn't a lot of Chronicle retcons.
Retcon.
It's not. And we could easily justify it. During the chaos of the whole incident, there's a lot of reports, a lot of conflicting reports of her death. And so there's a lot of artwork out there that shows different things happening to Sylvanas. There's the iconic one of Sylvanas in chains being dragged before Arthas. I don't know if that's official Blizzard artwork or just fan artwork, but there's a lot of stuff out there. But that's not what happened. We know what happened in Warcraft 3, and now we can assume this lines up almost perfectly with her Warcraft 3 death, as opposed to dying in a forest against a tree kind of thing.
And you go, okay, so why are these depictions all inaccurate, or at least kind of romanticized? Arthas was killing all of the civilians he could find. Every single civilian he could encounter, he wanted to annihilate the elves. He wanted them gone, off the map, and he wanted to use their bodies in his army. Does that sound familiar to you, by the way? Who else is kind of slaughtering innocents wholesale, Jesse? Is it Jaina's dad's boat, or?
It's Jaina's dad's boat. Totally her dad's boat.
With its...
and what I thought was interesting is the little side character, the
Sylvanas.
The mother and the child. And Sylvanas says, go, take her. And of course, I knew it was like, well, they're dead. Instantly, it was kind of like, oh, God. Like, we're going to see their bodies, and we do. When we zoom in on the bodies, by the way, and this is important, the open fields of before Silvermoon, they are tulips. Our Jeff, our resident animator, producer, editor, the second half of the Lost Codex, he's all around us. He's here listening, but he's silent. He's like a banshee. No, they're not silent. But Jeff is Dutch, and he confirmed that those are indeed tulips. So, High Elves are Quothalos is the Netherlands, confirmed. I didn't see any wind. anyway, moving on. So we see the dead mother. We see the child in the field. All the flowers are annihilated from Arthas's twisting of Sylvanas. And I wrote here, Arthas, just jumping off of what Jack said, Arthas slaughters everyone, absolutely everyone. And at the beginning of the video, Sylvanas says...
They're like ruining the land, too. He does not want this place to be occupied.
He is, he's saying he hires ghouls to rip out the tulips. And at the beginning of the video, she's prepared to invade the tree. And as I said in the podcast, that's the plan. Invade the tree. We're going to occupy the tree, and we're going to kill Malfurion in front of everybody. Everyone is going to see Malfurion, which doesn't say in front of everyone, but we're going to destroy their morale. And I assumed that meant a public execution, or at least showing Malfurion's head, destroy the spirits of the Night Elf people.
And she does ask for his head, doesn't she?
She does say to our Horde side, she says, take a moment, then take his head. And so I guess she's going to show it to the people of Darnassus once they've occupied and invaded the tree. And then the purpose of that is that's the largest settlement of Alliance outpost cities on Kalimdor next to the Exodar. Once she has Teldrassil, Kalimdor's is hers. And Silithus, the main site of the Azerite pop-ups, that's hers as well. And by holding the people of Darnassus hostage, occupying the city, she can ensure the Alliance stays back. And no one's going to call that bluff of, don't invade the city or I'll kill all the civilians. Because as we know, Sylvanas in the past has been extremely trigger happy. So these quotes that I have here are, she's prepared to invade the tree. And Dalaran says, why? You've already won. Only innocents remain in the tree. And she says, no, this is war. And Dalaran says, no, this is hatred, rage. Cue flashback. At the end of the flashback, or after the flashback, I grieve for you. You've made life your enemy. And this is a war you'll never win.
She's crying.
But you can't kill us. Or you can kill us, but you cannot kill hope.
The Night Elf, she's weeping, and Sylvanas is like, oh, she assumes that she's weeping for Teldrassil, and she's like, I'm weeping for you, bitch, because you lost. You may have won, but you're lost.
You cannot kill hope, she says. And I didn't catch this until the second watch through, and Sylvanas says, and that's the watch. You challenged Sylvanas. She says, can't I? And then all of our questions, all of our who done this. Jaina, Azshara did this.
I was wrong.
Alexstrasza did this. I thought this was going to be an accident. I thought this was good.
Wait,
Bolvar
did people
did
think
it.
it would be Alexstrasza? Like she's just gonna fucking show up and be like, as the life mender.
I don't know. I saw a theory that Sylvanas, that Alexstrasza destroys the world tree in a
like I'm taking my ball and going home kind of moment.
No, kind of because she's grieving. So many elves are dead, and she just snaps. At this point, she's lost her mate. Malygos is gone. Her sister's dead. Ysera's
she
dead.
was mad.
She just goes insane. But there was nothing to support that. It was just kind of one of those off theories. That was really cool, but I didn't see it happening. All these theories of who done it, who did the thing, and Sylvanas just burn it.
There's hesitation there, as you know in the notes.
Yes. Nathonos, she burn it, and then she looks at Nathonos again, and she has to repeat herself. Ooh. I'll let you go with your notes here, Jack. There's
That's the face she makes that I'm making. Burn it!
Just like Arthas, she slaughters innocents for the hate of it, to gather their bodies and completely to dominate. She's always done this.
Yeah, that's what I wrote.
And go ahead.
So we actually went back and found the Warcraft 3 campaign. Somebody has a great little video of it. And I watched the part where Arthas is trying to penetrate the Elf Gates. And Sylvanas in life, so we're thinking, okay, maybe there's like these quotes that she's mirroring where she's sympathetic and she's like, don't do this in life to mirror the Night Elf, whose name I'm not going to try to pronounce. I know her name, but I don't want to get
Dalaran?
I'm going to say Dalaran, and then people are going to be like, no, you don't know her. Is that my stupid voice? Anyway, what was I saying? So she is actually really spiteful in life too. At one point, somebody's like, "Oh man, our rangers are dying," and she's like, "They are quivers. No, yeah, arrows in a quiver. They're expendable. Just keep throwing them at Arthas." That's an attitude that she has now, just amplified. Undeath seems to take the spite, take your hatred, and multiply it, and
that's actually mirrors Arthas's boldness and his desperation that we see in Stratholme. You know, he wasn't just this. He was desperate, and we see that intensity in Arthas translate into the Lich King. It's mirrored.
We're actually seeing a very similar progression to Arthas in Sylvanas. She is going along a very, very similar trajectory. And she doesn't have the benefit of the Lich King to like infuse her with power, but she does have the Valkyr. There's this catalyst that's giving her a lot of necromantic power. And while it's not quite exactly the same, it does rhyme. And it is notable that it does rhyme.
There's also and this is like Ner'zhul physically empowers Arthas, but there's the notion of she was always a leader, but she's now not only the leader of the Forsaken, but leader of the entire Horde war machine. Suddenly, that power, when she touches the Azerite for the first time in Before the Storm, we see it in the cinematic too, but Anduin sees potentials to end the war in all ways. Sylvanas sees ways to cause more destruction. She sees herself as a goddess of both life and death, creation, but destruction. And she sees herself in this unstoppable way. And that's why Azerite's so important to her, which is why the Alliance should be very interested in the Horde's interest in it, because Anduin sees ways to stop the conflict. Not only could he climb mountains, but he could move mountains. Sylvanas makes another. She could destroy. She could crush. She could conquer.
Not just destroy, but create in her image. She really views herself as goddess, as this person who is at the hub of a vast cycle of creation and destruction.
I have a note here, and I think this is important. Nathonos and Starfang are both there, and Nathonos hesitates. And you could argue that in that moment there was just the shock of, you were abandoning the plan, and then Nathonos said, all right, do it. But it's important to note that in Nathonos' short story, when he got his new body in Legion, there was a ritual. And basically the ritual is Nathonos' cousin was a living Argent, not an Alliance, an Argent Crusade Paladin. Mm-hmm. his life is ripped from him and infused. His essence is infused into Nathonos through a ritual done by a Valkyr, and the Valkyr also expends her power in some way as well. And Nathonos goes from the rotting old vanilla model that we knew, he even had that model in Cataclysm and in Warlords, to this new, sexy mustache and vampire look that we know him as today. And it's important to note, at the end of that story, Nathonos gets his ability to smell, and all these senses start coming back to him that he had lost as Forsaken. And then he says he felt something that he hadn't felt in years. In years as Forsaken, he felt guilt. So by giving him a new body...
So it's even like important to note that at the beginning, they show him regarding his cousin and without remorse.
No remorse. He's kind of like, yep, you're here on a table. And
you're here
I have no problem with that.
I give no fucks about you.
And it's his cousin. And at the beginning of the story, we see his cousin as a boy, and Nathonos is an adult, and Sylvanas is really nice to this little boy, and then Nathonos just doesn't care. No remorse. And then he gets his body back. He gets this... Something happens, and he feels remorse. And I'm not saying that second of hesitation was 100% disloyalty from Nathonos, but it's a second that matters. And Saurfang actually says in the quests before this whole ordeal happens, when you take Lordanel, he says, we will not kill innocents. We will not kill anyone who does not raise a weapon at us. Capture them, we'll question them, and then we'll set them free.
We don't want to make any before the storm mentions, do we? This is spoiler free, right? Or anybody who hasn't read, should we do a disclaimer, like a quick?
If you haven't read Before the Storm and you don't want to get spoiled, just stop now.
Just leave. Get out of here.
Go cry. Okay, here we go. Go ahead.
Okay, so then we're getting into it. So when Sylvanas kills the Desolate Council, he goes, "What are you doing?" This is that was my Jesse impression. This is a moment for him where he's like, you're killing our people. You're killing innocent people who are coming back to us. What the fuck are you doing? Why would you do... he has a reaction of conscience. This is a bigger... Burn It is a bigger event than the Desolate Council. I know that they're not his people, but they're still innocents. And you're about to get to Saurfang, who has similar reasons to have misgivings.
So Saurfang's basic thing is, we're not going to kill innocents. Anyone who raises a weapon at us, we're not. And then when you hand him the quest, he says, we've shown honor to our enemy today. And Saurfang's whole story arc with Garrosh up in Northland, that iconic conversation is Saurfang remembers invading Shatrath. Saurfang remembers the blue blood of the Draenei everywhere, killing innocents, killing children. And he says the screams of children sounded like pigs squealing. And Garrosh says, "Oh right." Garrosh says, "How do you get over that?" And Saurfang makes a really crude note and says, "I don't eat pork anymore because of that." When he hears pigs squealing, he's reminded of Draenei children being butchered in the streets of Shatrath.
Don't you get screams like that actually when you're in the quest area? I forget. But also, I'm starting to wonder, on a speculative note, the Forsaken assassins that we see on the Alliance, I wonder if that was actually an advanced force. And if they were doing a lot of the more nasty, dishonorable killing. And then the rest of the Horde shows up later and does the honorable stuff. So Sylvanas can get it both ways. Kind of I can cause some suffering and really get in there beforehand.
It's important to note that you as the player go into Azshara and assassinate some guards, and you're doing it with a blood elf. And the blood elf is exceptionally bloodthirsty, like unusually bloodthirsty. He whispers to the guards as he kills them, like, enjoy your sleep. Like you're kind of like, whoa, like Lorthamar would not be cool with you, buddy. Not as bad as the Forsaken, but I even running around on my orc, I was like,
can you hear the screams?
Like, can you hear the screams? That's what the Forsaken say when they attack you in Ashranar. So the last note we're gonna say is she stands alone at the end. And what does
okay,
that
I wanted to
mean?
I noted that, like, artistically, so at the beginning you see them, her and her lieutenants, approaching the tree, and Delaran standing there, sitting there, laying there, dying, perishing. And at the end, after all of this takes place, the flashback, the burn it, all of that, it's just Sylvanas standing alone. Like, not like alone, like she sent everyone away, but it really looks like it's just her and her hatred, her and her crusade against life, her and what she has become. And I think that was intentional. If they wanted to depict everybody going off and doing war things, I think they would have done that around her, make it seem like there's a commotion. It's just Sylvanas. And I think that's meant to give a huge impact to us as players. I'm waiting for the morally gray.
Right? So here's what I want to end on, because this has been a bit of... I want to end on the mention of hope. And at first I thought, when the theme of hope came up in the video, I at first thought of Anduin's whole thing with hope. Chi-Ji, the Red Crane. But then I thought of Before the Storm. And again, who loves hope in that book? Who absolutely... And Kalia Menethil is all about hope. At the end of the book, hope is everything to her. And I wish I had the exact quotes with me right now. But
me too. I wish we had those.
When Sylvanas kills, or her Dark Rangers kill the Desolate Council, Sylvanas implies, or she might actually say the word hope as well, that she's crushing this idea that the Forsaken and the Alliance can get together. That the Alliance and Horde can... That not even the Horde, her people in the Alliance can meet and be friends and be friendly and be good to one another. She's crushing that idea.
And that wasn't a spontaneous thing. She was planning this throughout the whole book.
Right.
This crushing of their hope.
That's all I could think of when Dalaran said, "But you cannot kill hope." That's when I was like, oh God, like, so I have been trying...
been on the other end of this. She should know that.
And she doesn't. And that's what's so important. And people are going to say, Jesse, you're anti-Sylvanas fan. And I love Sylvanas' story. But
so do I.
Horde players, is this okay? Like, are you okay? Leave your comments leave your comments down below. Are you okay with what just happened? And there's going to be some people who are just blind loyalty and go, fuck yeah, burn the tree, kill the innocents. And calm down. Go back to Warcraft 1.
There were people who thought the Cult of the Damned did nothing wrong. And so
Horde players, are you okay with what's happened? And this, I was told by someone in Discord that, and this is very important, a lot of people are throwing hate at Blizzard right now. Horde players are feeling like this is, and I know there's a lot of Horde players who are like, this is effed beyond all recognition. Like, we thought was going to come in and do something. We thought, and maybe there's something else we haven't seen, but we thought, but many people thought Jaina wanted to start to set the tree on fire by starting a war, which I'll just say, Jaina didn't need to set the tree on fire to start the conflict, because the Horde slaughtered Ashen Vale completely. Innocents, civilians, all dead. And not even in a war effort, it was an assassination overnight. Overnight, every outpost in Ashen Vale was just absolutely throat slit in the dark kind of thing. So it's not like Jaina sets the tree on fire to start this war. Sylvanas started this war. The Alliance didn't start this war by killing some goblins, FYI, in Silithus. The Horde quest tells Horde players to go kill SI7 agents, and the Alliance quest tells Alliance players to survive a battle against all odds, come out alive, and get some Azerite. So there's different wording there. Interpret that how you will.
So
the world. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
I would just beseech the Horde players. This isn't even the opening chapter of this expansion. Don't be like, this expansion's ruined. It's horrible. The expansion hasn't even started. This is the prologue to the expansion. There's going to be, they've said that there's going to be an actual morally gray moment, and I think that what's going to happen is you're going to have your leaders step up. You're going to have your heroes step up, and all of this horrible activity now is setting a point of contrast for when the Horde isn't not like with Garage, hopefully, but actually it does find its moral compass, and it does return to a true Horde where you're doing something honorable.
This has
And
surpassed Garrosh's.
when
crimes
Kalia
as
comes
well.
in with hope and her light forsaken.
and her not basic robes. Things.
She's
Hope
gonna
is
have
hope is
great
going to be a
robes.
huge theme this expansion, I think, with Kalia and with Sylvanas
Kalia.
and all that.
Shoot me.
And I'll just banned from the channel. I'll just say this, guys: Horde players, don't spew your hatred at Blizzard. Don't go to social media and write vile, hateful things. This is a story they are telling, and you may disagree with it. You may feel that this is not your Horde. This is not the Horde you remember. You may follow the hashtag not my war chief, whatever. But don't spew your hatred at any of the writers, any of the C dev teams, any of the Blizzard developers, employees, anything for this, because they're telling a story to you, and they love telling these stories to you, but they're not sitting there laughing in Alliance jerseys going, all right, how can we fuck the Horde now? No. I know a lot of Blizzard employees who play Horde. There's the idea that only Blizzard employees play Horde and that they hate the Alliance. Well, the Alliance has been stomped on a lot, and sure, the Horde has with Siege of Orgrimmar. I won't deny that, but let the story unfold. Don't just get all angry and hateful at Blizzard. You can be angry and hateful for where the direction's going. You can feel anger towards your war chief Sylvanas, but leave it in game. Stay angry in the story. Don't jump out and attack people online.
It's a great time to get into roleplay.
It is, and you should watch our roleplay podcast. It's pretty interesting. We're going to bring this to a close, guys. But Horde players, what do you think? What do you think?
And one last note on that.
Right,
they have said they are not going to keep the Horde and the Alliance equal in story anymore. They haven't in the past. Now they're really not. They're going to keep the factions balanced in gameplay. But if they're going to have a real story, an actual arc, there needs to be winners, losers, heroes, and villains. And right now we're seeing some villains. Just wait for the heroes. That's all I'm asking.
That's all we can ask for, guys. So, Horde players, how do you feel?
How do you feel?
Do you still follow? Are you still going to follow your blood oath that you swore to the Horde years ago to stand? You are the instrument of your war chief's desire. Are you going to obey that? Or are you going to break it like we all broke it with Garrosh? We had to break it with Garrosh. Are you going to break it again? Or are you going to stand by your war chief's side? Let us know. And Alliance players, most of the Alliance players are going to say, I knew this was happening, but what do you guys think? What do you guys think?
And Brosaken, what do you think about your queen?
Ooh, yes. What do you think about your queen? And provide some thought. If you're still loyal to your queen, tell us why. Tell us why you're still loyal. After reading Before the Storm, you have to read. You cannot say I am loyal without reading Before the Storm. You have to. As biggest Sylvanas fanboy over here, I really hope that puts Jack over here because I've been pointing in the wrong direction the entire episode. So, as Jack is the biggest Sylvanas fanboy ever, and he even said this in the before we started filming, in that little cut, this chapter with Sylvanas fighting Arthas was where he fell in love with Sylvanas.
Oh my heart.
And this is a complete circle. He has been stabbed with a emotional frostmourne over there. So if you're loyal to Sylvanas, tell us why. And if you're Forsaken who's not loyal to Sylvanas, tell us why. Thank you guys so much for listening to this special episode, this special emotional, crazy, oh God moment of Beyond the Sanctum. Tune into our podcast this week because we're gonna just go off for a long.
It's my Alaria Sand.
Alaria Sand, and then I've got my Tywin staring. No, I freaked out too. I think my hands are on my head. My hair is all messed up because of that. So anyway, guys, thank you so much. Tune into our podcast this week where we're gonna talk about everything that happened in more detail. And now we wait for Azshara.
Yes.
See you guys.
See you guys. Thanks for watching.